Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Legends Blackarachnia. This figure was a Takara exclusive release and was originally released in October of 2015 under the ID number of LG17. The figure was Deluxe class and could be found on online toy stores for the average price of $30. The figure is not a new mold, but is instead a repainted and remolded 2008 Transformers animated Blackarachnia. This time, however, Blackarachnia is designed and repainted to have a resemblance to her original Beast Wars counterpart, which for most is probably the main attraction to this figure. There you can see what Blackarachnia looks like in her box from the front. You have a character art on the side there. The other side, we have a picture of the figure along with the Predacon symbol, and we have the little ID number down there. The back shows some more character art back there, figure in both modes. Little drawings here which have a few of the Beast Wars characters, and that's pretty cool. Then at the bottom, you have a whole bunch of text down here. Little Pac-Man dude, which is always cool to see. And that pretty much sums up the box, so let's get to looking at the figure. So here we have Blackarachnia in her spider mode, which is of course a Black Widow spider, and we'll bring the figure in for a closer look and look at some angles. And it probably looks the best from the top, or kind of like an angle like this. As you can see, when we get into the side, you can definitely start seeing some of the robot mode kibble. Look at it from the bottom, obviously. You have the head sticking out, you can see these hands. It is pretty evidently a spider, but how good the figure looks kind of depends on how you situate things. And you can push this back end, the abdomen down a little bit more, and fidget around with how low you want the spider to be. But I find kind of positioning it like this does look to be the best. Bring it up close again to look at the details, a lot of which are here to give a more spidery appearance. As we have 7 eyes on the front, I do believe spiders usually have 8, but it's not that much of a big deal. They do protrude from the head, and they're translucent, so that's pretty nice. She does also have these pinchers in front. Now these look kind of weird because they were remolded to form a more Beast Wars accurate chest in the robot mode, and we'll see how that works out there, but for this mode they look kind of weird. In the abdominal area, you have your black and red, which is a nice motif to the Black Widow spider. One detail that's kind of peculiar is how different all of the legs look. Now these 4 in the front look pretty good, pretty consistent with each other, but once you get into the rest, you obviously have the robot arms, right here, and then the robot legs back here. So it doesn't provide for the best consistency, but once again, it's kind of all just about positioning. As far as the playability and functionality of the figure, we have a few things to look at, one of which is articulation. This figure does have quite a bit. You can see, basically, you have ball joints right here, here as well. These ones are just one solid piece, but up here, you have some extra movement. The back leg, so now, it does have a lot of articulation, but I only feel like a few different poses are going to really look good. Leaving it just in standard pose where it's going to look kind of menacing like that, probably the best thing you can do. This Blackarachnia figure does come with the same accessory that the original figure had, and that is this grapple claw thingamajig. And as you can see, you can articulate these claws several different ways. You can either have them open like this and then close them down on something. And to kind of mimic a web, unfortunately that's really as far as it will stretch, but you do then have this feature button right here. And so as far as attaching it to the figure, you can look in the bottom of the abdominal area. You have these 2 little pegs, and you want to make sure these 2 openings you see right here where my thumb's pointing and this little one up here go right in those pegs. So one way the gimmick for this accessory can work is just by gripping the claws onto something, like it's gripped onto a cannon here, and you can just push this button here and she can kind of pull it in. You can also grip the claws onto something above, and I believe it will pull the spider up. As for the spider mode overall, it isn't terrible, but it definitely has a fair amount of cons. As for the pros, if you pose it right, it looks pretty cool. There's a good amount of articulation, which is something you usually don't see in alternate modes, even not that many beast modes. The color scheme looks really nice. The detailing, especially on the eyes, looks really good. And the gimmicks is a fair amount of fun. As for the cons, a lot of them can be summed up by saying it just suffers from the robot mode. As you can see the hands right here. Also, if you look at it from angles, you can maybe even see the head. It also has the problem where each leg almost has a completely different design, and the pinchers are definitely kind of weird looking. Also, if you're going to kind of pick up and fiddle around with the figure, it's easy for it to get out of place, and really it seems to work better for display purposes when in this mode. So here we have a comparison of Blackarachnia with her Transformers animated self to give you an idea of the differences in colors and remolding. Next, we have her with some of the other recent Beast Wars remakes. And for a little bit more perspective, here she is with Combiner Wars Rook and Transformers Legends Nightbird. That wraps up the spider mode, so let's take a look at the transformation. And first thing we're going to want to do is just remove this back piece. You can just pull that off really easily. Is take this red piece here and flip it up so we can get the head out, turn it around now to its robot mode position if you want, but let's focus on the body right now. So push that down, and now the body is free to flip downward just like that. So next thing you're going to want to do, and this may be easy to forget, so make sure you do it, is take this piece right here and just push upward on it. Next, take the pinchers and just push them up like this. Next thing, to get these front legs out of the way, first kind of push them together, and you just want to rotate them back, like so. And you can kind of situate these a number of different ways. May as well do the arms. Just take them, really just get them down here into position. We'll flip these upward for right now. Same thing with the other arm. The abdominal area, just take it, push it upward. And now we really just have the legs. What you want to do here is these will rotate. And it can be a little bit difficult to get them out of place, but basically it's just like that. Sometimes this one will kind of pop up like that. You just want to make sure you push it down. But it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Right now, let's push the feet back, just like that. Now with a figure like this, it's kind of different than a lot of them that we have now, like Combiner Wars, where they move into place really easily. Sometimes I have to kind of like fidget with stuff to see how you want to make sure you have everything in place, but I think we basically have Blackarachnia in her robot mode. As you can tell if you've seen Beast Wars, the mold isn't identical to the model we used in the Beast Wars series. For what they had to work with, they did make it look pretty close. They remolded this chest here, gave her the Predacon symbol on the neck. Of course, the head sculpt is entirely remolded. And for those parts of the figure that are very different from the Beast Wars design, such as the spider legs being back here instead of attached to the upper arms, they did get the colors right, so you gotta give credit where credit's due. So not only do the colors mirror her Beast Wars counterpart pretty well, but they also have a good amount of detail just in these arms altogether. There are a lot of different colors and paint applications. The legs don't have many paint applications, but it doesn't necessarily look bad. Have this nice translucent chest here. Obviously the head sculpt is very detailed. Here's a look from the side, the back. One thing to note about this figure is that even though it has been repainted and remolded to resemble her Beast Wars counterpart, it does still carry over stylistic attributes from Transformers Animated. Way the leg is shaped here has sort of a cartoony look. Even the way the arms look, especially when you kind of get to messing with them a little bit more. Now there is an elephant in the room I should probably talk about, and you've probably been noticing this gap here. Yes, that is something that is quite bothersome, and unfortunately I don't believe there is much you can do about it. Though you can't really articulate your way out of it, there is a fix for that with the gimmick, which we'll be getting into a little bit here. First, let's start off with articulation. Look at the legs, you have them on a ball joint, so you get some good motion right there. And then they can also turn up here, but there's only so much motion you can get because of the way the pelvis area is structured. As far as the knees go, you can do this with the feet, which can be kind of helpful when standing. Also, can articulate the feet here. And we have some waist articulation. You're probably going to get the best range of motion if you move the abdominal area. As far as the arms go, a ball joint up here. You can go out as well. Ball joint at the elbow. As far as the head goes, you have neck articulation, sort of right there. And then for the head itself, it's on a ball joint, so you can go all of the way around and look up and down. So, yeah, pretty standard articulation. There are some things that kind of prohibit it, such as the spider butt right here, and maybe these legs back here as far as the upper arms go. Now, as far as accessories, gimmicks, features, all that kind of stuff, we have these blades, which can do a full 360 and can also come off pretty easily. But you can flip them down like that, which gives her sort of battle blades. Not nearly as effective as side swipes, but they are battle blades nonetheless. Next, we have the claw contraption thing, which of course also has a function in this mode. The one you can do with it is attaching it to the arm here. And you just take this square peg this time, and there's the square hole right there, and just push it into place. Yeah, you will have some problems with it falling off, and aside from that, it is kind of clunky looking, but basically it will have the same function that did in Spider Mode. This, however, I feel is a secondary function to what the tool is best used for in this mode, and that is kind of getting rid of this empty space here. If you take this on the back of her neck right there, there's a little hole. Just take the peg from earlier and put it in there, and the gappiness is gone. For the most part, you know, you can still kind of see it in there, but it definitely helps in my opinion. As far as playability in regards to posing and just handling the toy holds up pretty good, but it does have some issues. You can get some cool poses. The arms and legs are long enough that you can do a lot of stuff with them, which is especially cool for the arms considering, you know, before Transformers Animated we really had a lot of stubby arms. You will find some problems in regards to some of the kibble getting in the way and kind of the way the figure's built, especially in regards to the legs. We can get into issues with standing. That's when it comes in handy to kind of situate this articulation you have with the feet. There are also certain parts of the figure, as I demonstrated right here, that may have the tendency to break, as the figure does kind of have a delicate and in certain areas rubbery feel, as we have rubber up here. And overall handling the toy, you can just notice she's kind of wiry. Taking an overall look at the robot mode though, for what cons she does have, I think she more than adequately makes up for them. The figure's just magnificent looking. Great color scheme. The remoting overall in this mode works out really well considering the chest and the head. And to start our size comparisons, here we have Blackarachnia with her Transformers animated counterpart. And here's her with Rhinox and Waspinator, and here you can see the size difference between older molds and the newer ones, which may be a bit of a problem for some people adding this Blackarachnia to their collection. And here's one more comparison showing her with Classics Optimus, Combiner Wars Streetwise, and Legends Slipstream. Final thoughts? While I certainly have some mixed feelings on this figure, I would say overall it is a good figure. The Spider mode certainly is one of the weaker out modes in recent memory, but it can be displayed well, and the robot mode more than makes up for it. Though the robot mode itself may have some technical issues that might bother some people, it looks really nice, and overall it handles pretty well too. Great colors, pretty good design, and very, very appreciated remolding. Now, as far as recommendations go, would I recommend this for the casual collector? Probably not, especially if you don't like the Transformers animated aesthetic, because it's really heavy with this figure, and if you're a casual collector, you're probably not used to that, as it was really something we only seen with the Transformers animated line. If it were a regular price, I would say go for it, but being that it's $30 and probably only going to go up on eBay after it's out of production, it's probably something you're not going to be into. If you're sort of a Beast Wars completist or looking to get a remade Beast Wars collection, maybe. This isn't like the be-all and end-all Blackarachnia, sort of like we had with Thrilling 30 Rhinox. There are still some problems. It is just a repaint of animated Blackarachnia, so it doesn't capture the character perfectly. With that said, if you're just looking in the short term and you don't really know when they're going to make a completely accurate version of her Beast Wars self, this is definitely something to consider getting. If you're a fan of the character, this is a definite buy. Does a really nice job at representing the character, and definitely one of the better renditions we've had recently. Anyways, that's all I have to say about it. You guys can leave your thoughts on this figure or the review itself in the comments section below. What do you think of the figure after the review? You like it more? You like the figure less? You just have some thoughts on it you would like to share? Drop it off in the comment section below, along with any critiques or compliments you have for the review. If you're interested in more Transformers figure reviews, you can go to my channel and playlist and check them out, along with my regular Transformers commentary uploads. So, more cool stuff on the way. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.